G'day friends, welcome to today's video, which is a video about reimagining and recycling, reusing some of your favorite images and drawings and stuff from your journals. So this is just a small selection of the amount of images that I reuse. Some of my old favorite drawings, some that I've turned into digi-stamps, and I'm just going to show you a million different ways that I recycle them into my own journal. So this is the Doodle Squad. I remember saying in a video that I had a funny story about this that I wasn't going to share. I'm going to share it. Basically, I was watching reality TV at about 1 o'clock in the morning and I was drunk when I did it. So that's my embarrassing story. I'm not encouraging anyone to go out and, down a bottle of whiskey and draw, but that was my truth, that was my reality. But I came out with one of my favorite little spreads, and I reimagined it in that green leafy kind of vine thing. Here they're reimagined with washi tape hair, and I just made them all peek over the edge of the book. Here I tried to turn them into that caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. I was going for like a Japanesey type feel. This is a border. I made them Border Patrol when I was practicing a bunch of borders in my book. So I just wanted to show you that I've literally used these things to death, and sometimes I'll reuse the idea. I mean, here it's the cover of my book, so I really got my money's worth out of this drawing, let me tell you. And I could go through and show you everywhere that it pops up, but this video would be 45,000 minutes long. So I reimagined it into washi tape, the handmade journal tapes. This was one of the samples. I've colored it in. I put a bit of clear Mod Podge over the top to kind of seal it and see what that would look like. Here was when I was testing them out, and I thought I wanted them, a lot wider, but then I thought, no, it's a little wide for washi tape for me, for what I wanted to use them in the journal for. Here, I literally made this a little piece of tape. It's an exact copy of that journal, the Border Patrol journal spread, the one where I practiced all the borders. So it's been reimagined so many different times, and it actually came from this idea that I did when I was about 16 or 17 years old, this image, which is a big, it's in a big frame at home in my room. It's just a Copic drawing that I did with a fine liner and Copic markers. I think it was one of the first things I drew when I got the Copic markers, because I just wanted to see how they worked. And I came up with this huge image, this huge drawing, and I've reimagined it so many different times in prints. It's reimagined in the last set of journal tapes that I sent out. Here is some offcuts of some prints, of some test prints that I did when I was coming up with the book. I've made them covers of, covers? This is American accent, y'all. It's creeping in. So I've made them covers of my planner inserts, my little traveler's notebook inserts. You can see them in this washi version, the journal tape version. They pop up everywhere too. Here I just used some of that gorgeous paper we got from the Japanese bookstore, the old letter paper, that like rice tissue kind of paper. And I just put the book behind it and literally traced over it with a Sakura souffle, and then traced over some of the other images in the book just with a fine liner. So if you got tracing paper out there, this is a fun little a fun little project to try and tip in, try and reimagine some of your old drawings, some of your favorite stuff. I think because you're using something that you're proud of, because you're using something that you did, it just regenerates and re-sparks that creativity that you first had when you did it. That's what I believe anyway. This girl on the left became a digi-stamp called Millie in the store. Here are a bunch of reimaginations I did with her. I like to use the digi-stamps a lot, and they only become digi-stamps because I use them a lot. I don't really put anything in there that I wouldn't use. So the girl on the right, the curvy model, she hasn't actually become a digi-stamp yet, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if people are looking for something like that. I'm not sure if that's something I've even played enough with to know if I've got the proportions right, or if I've got something that I could work with here. But I do have some reimaginations of her too. There's one there, just an unfinished journal spread. There's one on the back too where I just covered her in washi and then cut it out, so it looks like she's wearing a washi bodysuit. And here I've just drawn some clothes over the top of her. She's a little emo, a little hot topic. But yeah, I love to reuse this stuff. I don't want to, oh here, I like this one. I really like this one. This has got like that brushstroke mermaid feel, but I did it with washi and a paint marker. I love her face and her hair on that one. And this is just an unfinished mermaid, but I'll get around to finishing that another day, I'm sure. I just love to reuse this stuff. There are some days when I get, oh here, Daphne and Delphi, they're digi-stamps in the store. This is one of my favorite pieces that I did. That's why I turned that one into journal tape as well. If when you're reusing that stuff, sometimes you have days where you just don't want to draw, or sometimes you have days where you're feeling a little more paper crafty, or you're feeling like you want to eliminate all the steps at the start, like, you know, planning and drawing and painting and inking, and you just want to eliminate all of that and you just want to go straight in for the spread. That's where I think reusing some of your old stuff comes in handy, because you've got the base down, you've done it before, so it's still your work. I mean, by all means, do this stuff with the orange grab bags if you're going to get your hands on one of those, because I'm cutting up a million at the moment, it seems like. So I'm super happy about that. I'm as happy as that picture of me on that page. Use these ideas for your ephemera packs. I just reimagine it, redo it so many times until you're sick of it, and then move on to something else. And the best thing is, sometimes I've reimagined a reimagining of something. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're getting a little meta here, but, you know, I'll redo it so many times that I end up liking something that I've done like a 5th generation version of it, and I'll reproduce that. Or there'll be something that I tried on that version that I had never tried on all the other versions, and that suddenly pushes me in a new direction. So these Daphne and Delphi spreads, I love them. They were on a whole bunch of tags, but I don't have those tags because I sent them out with the book. Here, I love to doodle on them. I just think they're great bases. And that's what I like with a lot of the digi stamps that I create as well, just to have a base to work with. Here's what I'm talking about. That last spread that I did where I doodled all over it, I made a copy of it and then gave her a body, and she is reimagined in a spread. So it's not even the original. It's like 5th generation that I copied and reimagined that. Have I said reimagine enough yet? You'd think I was getting paid for it. Here's Stella. She's a digi stamp in the store too. I promise this is not to plug my Etsy, even though we know I don't have a problem doing that. It's just, like I said, a lot of the digi-stamps become digi-stamps because I've used them so much, and I think they'd be fun for other people to use. I reimagined part of this spread on the left into that handmade journal tape from this last set. It seems like a lot of these last journal tapes were a feature in this video, I guess. I must have just... That's what I'm saying. I was inspired by the reimaginings of it, so I turned them into journal tapes. You can pretty much do anything. I've got an example at the end of how I actually turned something into home decor. I have a massive frame in a bathroom that's actually one of it's a reproduction that I did of our wedding invitation, because Steve liked it so much he thought, well, can we reproduce that for the home just so I'll have that memory forever? And I said, yeah, sure, I've got some watercolor cardstock, just go and get me a frame and we'll do that. So here are those ladies in waiting from that other video that I did. There's some on tags, there's the original up there. I put her in my zine. You can see, you can just try all different skin tones on them, give them all different hairstyles. Their mood can completely change, the vibe can change. This one, I don't have many great examples of this, but she did end up in the book. It's kind of like an Alice watercolor that I did with some Daniel Smith when I was testing them out. So that's the original in that book, the sketchbook, and then I put it in my book, then I copied that, put that in my Disney journal, my Disney art journal that's nowhere near finished, and then I took that copy and copied that, and then put her in a Starbucks cup, because her earring said drink me, so that's just where my brain took it. Here's an old self-portrait I did, and you know what, it didn't even look like me the day I drew it, but I'm running with it because I like the style of it, I like the sketchy and the watercolor feel to it. So that had been reimagined. It's actually on some packaging. When I send out my journal tapes, it's a cover. That's what I used to make the zine, and then I just had another little copy that I put in my journal. This blue-haired girl, it did her ages ago. She became a print, and all of those test prints that I had, you can see how much I tricked that up in Photoshop. That's embarrassing. I think I did well though, because that original was done on cheap sketch paper and there wasn't a lot of vibrancy to it, so I'm actually happy for the Photoshop retouching. But here I've reimagined it into, you know, a whole different being. Especially because I draw a lot of just faces and necks, just like the portrait. I've got a lot of room to play and give them bodies, and I like to add bodies and I like to add clothing, especially because I love fashion illustration. But here sometimes I'll literally just reproduce it, desaturate it, or take the color out and then just color it in. Essentially make my own coloring page or make my own digi-stamp just for me to play with. But yeah, like I said, they only really become available if I use them enough. Here's that ink sketch that I love. It's so funny because I found the original in this sketchbook that I had, and it's I didn't realize the original was so small, and because I've reused this a lot, I can't find the rest of the examples. Here are two exactly the same little prints. That's the original right there. It was so small. It was done just with a water brush and a pen and a red pencil. And it's just sitting in the page with all these other little random sketches, but that's one of my faves. So I would like to reimagine that one a lot. I just can't remember where all the other examples are. There's just journals floating everywhere. These were from some Christmas cards I made, the elves. They were the originals on that last page. Then I made them into cards, and then I had all these test prints, so they became in that spread, and then that spread actually became one of the finish me type pages in my book. And then I made like a Christmas tree stack out of them for my Christmas spread last year. I'm telling you, the opportunities are endless. I feel like I can't say enough. Oh, here's that example of the wedding invitation. We had like a Vespa. It was a little Italian theme because Steve loves Italy. So I had this sketch, and this is the drawing that I did for our bathroom. So it hangs up in our bathroom. I just did it with ink and a pen. So if you're looking to turn some of your stuff into home decor, you could blow it up, put it up against a window and trace it if you want, or you can just re-sketch it out. I tend to go in black and white, like a little monochromatic around the house, just because it's a lot more forgiving for a sketchy look. I like to do it very messy, and then like a crisp black frame or a white frame, just very plain. But yeah, you could literally do anything with them. I've even turned one of these prints into a bag. I know it doesn't really look like a bag, but to me, I know it's a bag. On that little Alice obsessed page there, that spread. Here next, I've got some work I did for a client when I was designing kind of like a logo type thing. I just did a few different color variations on it. Even that is reimagining, reinterpreting your own work. I had a print of that, so I made it a balloon and that mermaid was carrying it, and there's the original right there. So keep your originals, keep everything, reimagine them, resize them. It's funny how much more inspiration you can get when something that was quite small becomes quite large, or vice versa, when one of your bigger images becomes smaller, more manageable to use in, like, say, your planner, or like just on a tag or something. Yeah, I think, yeah, who am I agreeing with myself? I think resizing them helps too. Sometimes flipping them in Photoshop, or I'm sure you could flip them in Word if you're printing from Word or whatever. And here, like I said before, and I linked this in my Facebook group, the Burke Makes Creative Outlet, Social Print Studio has these little calendar blocks, and I will print, this is a really easy way to get started with reimagining your work, I will print this calendar block full of my images that I like, of some of my favorite photos, of things I just want to journal and include in there, and I'll use those as the inspiration to start a page, and just kind of sketch on top of them, or sketch around them. Make tags with them, put them in journals, you know what I mean? So I just want to encourage you to reuse, reimagine, recycle, get all your favorite old stuff out and put it to good use again. Alright, bye everyone, thanks for watching.